You used to work at McDonald's, correct?
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about what happened over there?
Oh, that's extremely fun story. But when I was working at McDonald's, I was approached by one of the Fight for 15 employees. Um, he came and approached me after I left work and asked me if I heard about it, asked me about wages, asked me about sick time and all this. As a McDonald's employee, as any type of fast food employee, sick time is not even something that's comprehensible pretty much.
Yeah.
And so upon talking to him, I was like, yeah, dude, I totally need to speak out. I totally see that this group is here to support me with that. And I heard other things about them, variable things on the news, good or bad. And so I decided to go ahead and work with them. Upon working with them, I went to multiple protests. I was pretty well at speaking, decently well, and I first spoke in Sacramento in front of some Senate members, I believe it was, and that was mm, at the end of 2013. And at that time, they had, their McDonald's like croonies, I want to say, they're trying to dispute us on people coming to work sick, trying to dispute us on, improper conduct by managers that's never written up or anything, improper training. Um, I think it was successful though, because after that, then Congresswoman Linda Sanchez had me be her guest to the State of the Union. Um, After I went to the State of the Union, right when I came, oh, I'm sorry, I'm leaving out a few things. I'm just going to backtrack a little.
No worries. Go ahead.
Um, After I spoke in Sacramento in front of the Senate members, that was my first time getting written up for my register being short. And there was this one manager there. His name was Dominic slash Cassie slash Andre, which I'm like, why do you have so many names? But anyway, this manager was the one who would always take my register. And every time he would take my register, it would come up short. And he was also the one who would just be really rude. Oh, you think you're going to get that much money? Like he would say stuff like that, unnecessary.
So he was against the fight for 15, even though it would help him as well.
Yes. And I'm sure as a manager, he wasn't even making 15 because even though you're not supposed to be dating employee, my boyfriend at the time also worked there and he was in the management training program. And management only gets 30-cent raises like every 8 months or something nonsense like that. Like even while I was there, you get a 10-cent, you're up for review for a 10-cent raise after 6 months, which I think is ridiculous. Because
It
what are you
is.
really going to do with 10 cent? Like, really?
Considering your CEOs of the company make about a few thousand times more than you guys are making.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
so yeah,
definitely.
were you a full-time or part-time employee?
I was part time. If you even got close to full time, you were written up.
Yeah, I know a lot of fast food and minimum wage jobs. They don't give you full time because they don't want to give you benefits and they keep you on a part-time basis and keep cutting hours. Is that what they were doing to you there?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been through that. Were you guys trying to unionize the McDonald's or just try to get the wages up through the state and the federal government?
It was dual with SCIU, which is the organization I went through with the Fight for 15. They
Hmm.
were about creating unions and they wanted to make a fast food workers union.
Yeah, I tried to unionize a Little Caesars. I was working at quite a few years back, and it was disastrous.
Nope.
It was going really good at first, and then what happened was I got mad because they were treating the workers who weren't. I mean, they had a couple of white workers and black, but the Mexican workers they were treating them really bad, like talking down to them. And then people couldn't get raises. We were supposed to get a 10-cent raise. They wouldn't give us. So I said, if you don't give everybody that raise, I'm going to unionize the place. And they laughed at me. And then I did, and I went to the union, and we had everyone's support. And what they did was they started paying people off. They bought I wouldn't sell out, but the second guy that was really fighting for union, they bought him a motorcycle he wanted. And he turned against us for that. And then everybody else at the time, they got PlayStation portables, the PSPs, or they got their choice of that or an iPod. And they sold out the whole future of everyone who works for that company for something that cost a couple $100s. That if the union would have been able to go through, they would have been able to buy that with their own money, you know. And
Yeah.
I always thought how sickening that was.
I had
But
a similar incident at McDonald's, but mine is even more ridiculous. After I went to the State of the Union, when I came back, like I said, my register kept coming up short with this one exact manager, and they kept writing me up. And I was like, just check the cameras. There's a camera pointed at every register, you know? And then they're like, no, you know, we're going to have to write you up completely. We're going to have to terminate you. And I was like, sure, go ahead, but I'm not signing anything. You can just say I'm on leave for a little while, but I'm not signing anything to say I agree with this termination because I didn't steal anything. And of course, they couldn't do anything. I had some lawyers and such with SEIU talk to them, which I quite frankly feel like that was definitely suable, but you know, and then when they
well,
like
you
have,
know what? The thing is, in California, the corporations have all the rights. They could
mm,
fire you for any time at any reason
mm,
for anything they want legally. So it doesn't. They can't. It's really hard to get them on that. Because with me, they just said you don't like it here. You think you should go get more money? Go get another job. We're ending your employment here today.
wow, yeah, yeah, that's so ridiculous.
Did they attack any of the other workers who were going along with the fight for 15 or the unionizing at the McDonald's you were at, or just you?
It was only me, pretty much.
Were you the
Like
most vocal?
I was the only one participating at my McDonald's. There was one other person that came to like one meeting, and then they just stopped.
Oh, I see. So you were the target there. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened to me. I was the loudest one, and I was. I mean, because at the Little Caesars, they closed the whole store down, brought in a big screen, and played movies and stuff for all the people all day. After I was fired, I heard this, and then they gave them free pizza all day. It was like a party inside, and the whole store was closed. And at the end, I found out they spent over $750,000 fighting this union that I tried to do. So I
See, that's
mean,
ridiculous. That is so ridiculous. Well,
yeah,
about that paying people off, this shows just how much the workers here, at least in California, at least at the McDonald's I worked at, um, their spirits were so downtrodden that all they did was have a raffle, and people were so excited about a raffle, and then some food, like some chicken or something. And I was like, what is this? When I came back from being fired, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a raffle for employee appreciation. And I was like, I think it was I asked another employee who had been working there like 6 years. I was like, "Do they do this all the time?" She's like, "No, this is the first time they've done this." And I was
that's
like,
it.
"Okay,
That's exactly what they do, the employee appreciation. I think that's one of the things the union buster lawyers come with because they have
yeah,
so much propaganda. They show them videos about how horrible the unions are and how you'll be destitute if you go. I mean, these are poor people. I mean,
yeah,
we were all poor, and I made $4,000 the whole year I was there. That's all I could make, begging for more hours. I
yeah,
mean, honestly, I've always sold weed on the side, so that kind of kept me going. But but I could
yeah,
not survive with just that job. It'd be impossible. And I don't know how people do it. I mean, people have to work 3, 4 jobs sometimes, all over the place, driving Ubers, working at fast food. And then they're mocked like they're just scum because they're working so hard by somebody who barely makes more money than they do. It
Hmm.
really just blows my mind how the society works with that.
It's
Um,
crazy. It's ridiculously unnecessary. Oh, but back to the raffle thingy.
yeah.
So the lady pulls the ticket. She pulls the first ticket. She gives me the ticket. And then she starts passing out the other ones. I give this other chick, like this super like meek chick, I give her my ticket. And I'm like, here, you can have two now. Good luck. Of course, the chick wins. And then she's all excited. Woohoo. And I was like, what you in? She's like, a cup. And I was like, wow,
Wait, a cup?
a cup. Woohoo. Yes,
Wow. Yeah,
yes.
at least
And they
they
were
paid.
so excited to win these dumb cups and shirts. And I was like, how about all the money you spent making these cups and shirts? You like spread it out amongst us. I was like, I would have loved the money that it costs to make this cup and shirt. I mean, I'm sure it'll since because you bought it from China, but nevertheless. And then the manager's all, ha 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 ha, like she thought it was funny. And I was like, no, it's not funny.
Yeah, what they did was the manager of our place kind of supported us a little bit, like kind of secretly, but he was cool. And they found out and they got rid of him first.
Oh
They
gosh.
didn't fire him. They just transferred him to another store and brought this real hard ass dude in that was just like really mean and evil and didn't give a dang about anybody. He was so much above us. With his $3 more an hour he made, he was superior to all of us in his own mind.
Of course.
Yeah.
Lowly peasants.
Yeah, I don't understand their logic on any of this. So, did they did they do anything else like give you guys parties or shut down the store or give them indoctrination about how horrible unions are like they did with us at the McDonald's?
It seemed to me that the people that they hired were already too scared to move anyway, so they really had to do nothing other than, I don't know, like when I was speaking to my coworkers, they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna get fired," and I'm like, "Who said that?" And they're like, "I just think I am." That's it. Like no one even had to say anything to them. And then because there was a big ruckus pretty much after I got fired, the SEIU members came, like a pastor came. We like all had shirts on and came back in and we were like, give my job back, stop being unfair, blah blah blah. And that my coworkers are all red in the face. Half of them really weren't very good at speaking English, so maybe that was the thing that they thought like, oh, this is the best I can get.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, it's totally just exploitation of people.
Yeah.